Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. While we're waiting for Mateo, just have a few announcements to start with. Of course, you're here for SAR Artists Live on Instagram. And through the months of August and September, we will be presenting SAR Artists Live in partnership with Native American Art Magazine and Swaya's Indian Market. So thank you so much. And we have additional support from the Atata Foundation and King Galleries. And we are so very thankful for this support. So this evening we have Mateo Romero with us. And Mateo was our 2002 Ronald and Susan Dubin Native Artist Fellow. And I think Mateo's just starting to get on, so hopefully we'll have him in just a second. But as we start the Instagram feel free to ask any questions that you have for Mateo. We're probably going to be checking out
Hello?
his studio. Hello.
Hey,
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I haven't, I gotta flip this thing. Okay, there's a flip button.
Yeah, you do.
There we go.
Hi.
Hey,
There
what's
you
up?
are. Good, good. How are you doing?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. So we're here, everyone, with Mateo
Nice
Romero.
earrings.
Thank you. They look familiar, don't they?
I think I've seen them somewhere before.
Maybe. I don't know where.
So cute.
Thank you. So we're here with Mateo Romero, who was our 2002 Dubin Artist Fellow. So Mateo, my first question to you is, so we're kind of right in the middle of the first ever Swaya virtual Indian market, right?
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to hear how's it been going? What's it like having to shift over to a virtual space with all your work?
Well, first of all, I have to say I love it. I love it, and it's the direction of the future for
Mm-hmm.
artists. I initially approached it, and I had a website up, but it wasn't really being used. I had posted, maybe created a website about 8 years ago, 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and largely just let it sit there and didn't really take it as serious as I should have. And then I always, in the back of my head, I was thinking that there was more potential for it, and I wasn't really holding my end of it up. And I've seen with the Swaya website and the virtual show that that's correct. That is absolutely correct. That this is the new model for doing business. That people are very hesitant to do face-to-face interactions. And if you talk to gallery people, and if you go to openings this weekend, you'll see that there's like 5 or 6 people at an opening. And
Mm-hmm.
formerly we had these throngs of people and this kind of intensity and this kind of this number of people. But what we're also seeing is that people that are really savvy are using these virtual platforms, and they're getting ahead of it, and they're reaching their market and their audience. And I personally seen some sales out of state, off of the Swaya virtual system, and their platforms worked really well for us. Also with Charles King, he's done really well for us this summer with
Mm-hmm.
paintings. So these are systems that are working. It would be very poignant if you were really trying to use a system like this and it wasn't fruitful, and you didn't get the attention or the kind of collector experience you're looking for at a booth at market. But it's another thing entirely if you're not in a booth, but you've gotten the sales. So the experience I have had and
Mm-hmm.
talking with other people like Cara Romero and other people like Charles King, it's been positive. People have been like, yeah, no, that I think one thing they've done really well at Swaya is they've linked to a national server, and they're
Mm-hmm.
being pushed by a national organization website, a national arts organization. And I actually want to contact them and figure out who they're using to see if I could subscribe to that, because
Mm-hmm.
they've done better for me than I've done for myself in 7 years, and
Mm-hmm.
just like 6 weeks. I'm like, wow, they've really gotten the message out. And so the thing of it is it is the way of the future, at least the next year, I think, that this is the model, and that people have to, or should, embrace it, just embrace it. I actually am not really fluid with electronic information and internet and all that stuff. So, and I think many Native artists, I'm 53, and I think people 53 and 63 and 73, they're probably not very savvy with all this technical stuff. So I just have my kids back from college, and they're all with me, and I have them, posting stuff and writing things and doing this and doing that. And they speak this language fluently. So that's my recommendation, is for older Native people who don't do this language, this new language, is to get their kids involved, get their grandkids involved, and bribe them or pay them or something. I don't know what to do. Because this is where the market's gone.
Yeah.
So the ability of people to adapt. This is being on a virtual platform right now, being on an electronic digital platform, work for sale, is the equivalent to a restaurant opening up an outdoor dining area with tents and with like outdoor cafe dining, right? So these are the adjustments we're making, and the good news is that it could work for you if you put the right work in the right place, and you have people helping you. This could be a big boon to you right now. And you see with local small businesses, artists are essentially small businesses, and you see with small businesses around you in Santa Fe, those small businesses that have opened up these little tents and they're serving meals outside their restaurant in the parking lots, they're doing okay. They're adjusting. They're making adjustments. They're rolling with punches. They're gonna get their bills paid. They're gonna make it happen. And there's other models. There's a local small business that me and my kids used to go to, and I won't name names, but in Santa Fe, and their model's been really closed. They have really fear-based model. And we understand that why they are scared to adopt into the parking lot tent model, but I don't know if they'll be there in 6 months or a year. I don't know if they'll be able to make the adjustment. So that's the message is try it, and you'll be hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised with the amount of attention you're getting off of it. And I'm going to change my direction a little bit because I think I'm getting too much light coming in. Or maybe you want to close that door over there? There's a little bit of ambient light bouncing around my studio. I'm going to close the door so there's less light behind.
Okay, sounds good.
But that that's the idea, is that people, small businesses that are able to adopt and just try new models are going to prosper, and businesses that are a little bit ossified are going to have problems in this time, because there is a tremendous fear, and people are really hesitant to come into a space. Our entire existence has been about socializing and meeting people, and as artists, we do these face-to-face meetings and we sell art directly to our clients. But now there's tremendous fear about this, that you can potentially get sick or transmit this COVID disease to someone doing this face-to-face. So I understand. I understand the business person in Santa Fe who has a closed model. It has a little bit of fear and trepidation, doesn't really want to do the open, tent model in the parking lot kind of thing. I know where that comes from. So I don't judge that person, but at the same time, I'm also, encouraging Native artists to try this platform out. And we did a little, like a PSA for SWAIA too at the beginning of the summer, and just said, give it a shot. It's not that expensive. Try it.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that this platform has been working out really well for you. For those of you who've just joined in, we're here with Mateo Romero, and if you guys have any questions, just shoot them into the comments, and we'll get them over to Mateo. But if people want to shop your site, they can either access your website through swaia.org, or they can go directly to your website itself, right? And
that's correct. I'm at MateoRomeroStudio.com, and you can go on to SWAIA's website. It's an odd thing how they set it up. You actually have to type in my last name, Romero, comma, first name Mateo, and then if you enter it on the search engine that way, I pop up. But if you just put in Romero, or if you put in Mateo, or if you put in Mateo Romero, it shows I'm not there. But if you put in Romero, comma, Mateo, then I pop up on the website.
If you go to the R's section and you scroll down to Romero, you can also find Mateo that way as
Well, that's
well.
easier. See, that shows you how inept I am with the whole system, right? That's how primitive I am with electronics. I'm like trying to do it backwards, right?
So there's multiple ways, or you could just type in MateoRomeroStudio.com and just shoot straight on into there. And you've got some
Yeah,
works
just
for
go to
sale
Mateo
on
Romero
there.
Studio. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. And you've got some works for sale, right? And
I
on the
do. I
website.
do.
Uh-huh.
I have stuff on that website. I've also got stuff at King Gallery, and he's
Mm-hmm.
got a little, digital website too.
Oh,
So
fantastic. Uh-huh.
it's been, it's been a good year. It's been a great summer.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that it's been really atypical, it's been unusual. We have had good response. We have had great support from collectors. I can't complain at all. I painted roughly what I do for an Indian market show, a normal show,
Mm-hmm.
and we've roughly had the amount of sales that we do normally out of a booth. So I really can't complain at all about that. I've been very fortunate. It's strange. I was down there the other day. I went down to see the show at La Fonda, and I also went down to see Bob Gress. He had a little show at Lucchese,
Mm-hmm.
and that plaza's empty.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a shock
Mm-hmm.
because I walked across the plaza. I had lunch at the Plaza Cafe with my friend Rob, and then I walked across the plaza to go to La Fonda and see the artists there. And I just had this image in my head about this time last year, you really couldn't walk in this space. There were so many people,
Yeah.
and it was such a density, and there was
Mm-hmm.
loud, there was native music, and people on the microphones, and there were, everything was so dense, and it was so tight that I remember just kind of putting my arms up and kind of like forcing my way through, kind of like bumping people and saying, excuse me. And then this year I just walked right through, and it was like nothing. You could hear a pin drop out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't the normal social interaction we're looking for. We crave that as artists. I think we do these works, and they're largely solitary works. We're in a studio, and much of the time it's a very solitary pursuit. And we crave the experience of being around people and getting response to the work and getting, people have comments, people respond, and that wasn't there this year at all. That was just totally absent. So it is it's poignant. But
Yeah.
if you've been fortunate enough to have good sales through this electronic digital platform system, it is poignant because you're economically you've been taken care of, but at the same time, the socialization of meeting your collectors and being around other native artists, it's a community. You know
Yeah.
that. I mean, you're part of this community.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of us, and it's a small group. I mean, it's a small group of there's maybe 1,600 SWAIA artists.
Yeah.
And we have a group of collectors and museum curators and gallery people. There are people like yourself who work in native arts organizations that are ancillary to the art market and connected and are fraternal, and it's a small group of people. I miss it. I really think it's closest to what my community is. Like if someone
Mm-hmm.
were to say, who are your people? I would say, it's this Indian market. It's this group of people, these collectors, these curators,
Mm-hmm.
these artists that show up, and those are my people.
Yeah.
If I was going to say in a nutshell, that's it. So that experience has been curtailed. I'm hoping next year at this time that we're back in those booths. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping next year at this time that we're back to pushing our way through the plaza and to get like a elote or something. We have to like fight our way through there and like, oh, excuse me, man. And that's my hope. That's my prayer, is that things will be normal next year. And also I want to say that this digital platform system, I think, I'm going to keep on mine. Like it's actually, I didn't really take it that serious initially. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really, put enough into it. And I'm seeing now that was my mistake, that I was kind of, I'm just a local guy. I'm a regional painter. I'll stick with what I know. And now that I've actually had, my eyes have been opened by what SWAIA has done. And I know there's some moments, that are a little bit bumpy in what SWAIA has done with the platform and with everything. But overall, I'm actually, just thrilled by this kind of ability to take native art and to put it nationally, and to put it, we're getting sales out of places like Utah and California, and just the places that I would have thought of myself as being more regional in some respects, and now we're getting national bounce, and it's wonderful. So that's also, if things are back to normal by next year, that's my hope. But I'd also say I'm going to stay with this platform. I'm going to stay on it and keep posting images. You have a responsibility as an artist to work with the system to promote your work, but you also have a responsibility to kind of put new images on and keep doing new work and keep posting it. I was talking to Charles King about his philosophy with his website the other day, and he said he challenges himself to put a new image up every day. He comes in, and the first thing he wants to do is get a new image up, because he wants people to come back every day and be excited and see something new. And it's that ability to get in front of something. That's native artists are so good at that. We're so good at adapting to situations, reading situations, and then responding. And that's what's called for now, is us to get ahead this digital moment and to get our work on these national servers and to continue working and posting new work and putting new images up and writing descriptions and emailing people and doing all that correspondence. And I think in that respect, it's very hopeful that, the response that I've seen has been great, that people are really embracing what we're doing. And, in some ways, it's quite remarkable, if you've been in a booth and a lot of your collectors have been local, and then all of a sudden it's like, this, national bounce, and I love it.
So that's fantastic to hear. And speaking of, all the work and all that the fuss is about, why don't you show us what the fuss is about? What have you been working
Let me show you
on?
some stuff. I'll show you some paintings. I am not really good at the Zoom thing, so you'll see I'll start doing this stuff when I'm showing you the paintings. You'll be like, oh my God, the paintings are like, they're moving, It'll just be me trying to you'll probably get like a little bit of a headache, but let me show you some of the stuff I'm working on. I'm working on a series of landscapes right now, and they are based on Pueblo concepts of time and space and becoming and being. And that's actually a quote from the title of Alfonso Ortiz's Tewa World, which is time, space, becoming and being in the Pueblo world. And that is what these, in a nutshell, that's what these paintings are about. These are images I'm going to show you, and they're local images from the Abiquiu area and Rio Chama area and Ghost Ranch and El Pedernal. And I've actually gone in and had conversations with some of my relatives here, and I've used some of the Tewa names for these places. So that's part of it, is I talk about the etymology of the place, the original names of the places. I don't know if you can see that. This is...
So Mateo, it's sideways right now. I don't know if you want to just flip your camera.
Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. This is one of my pieces. This has a title. It actually means rainbow. And offhand, I don't remember what that, I don't remember the Tewa term for rainbow. But this is a northern Rio Grande landscape. What's the word for rainbow, honey? What is it? Quantebe. The title of this painting is Quantebe, which is rainbow in Tewa. This is part of a series. I'll actually switch these paintings out. That's probably better. Can you see that?
Yes.
This is a series that I refer to as Siping Awinge. And Si is flint, Ping is mountain, and Awinge means village of. So this is actually the El Pedernal formation, but the original Tewa word for this is Siping Awinge, which means village of Flint Mountain. And there's an ancient ruin, an Anasazi ruin, on the outskirts of Siping Awinge. And so that's part of my way of talking about this concept of Pueblo-ness in the space, is by using the etymology and the naming of the original place. All these places, Abiquiu is actually Avasuge, and that's Chokecherry Valley. And El Pedernal is Siping Awinge, which is village of Flint Mountain. Powaki is Poswage, which is water drinking place. Cuyamungue is Cuyamugue, which is rock falling place. So all these spaces have these original Pueblo names from time out of mind, 500 years ago, 1,000 years back. And they've all been anglicized. They've all been taken out of context of the original indigenous etymology and the original kind of worldview of this place. And they all have important meanings to local people in terms of being shrines and locations and sort of boundaries of the Pueblo world and sort of, places of spiritual power. So that's part of the discourse. That's part of how I talk about them. This is another piece in the Sipingawenge. Yeah. That's a kind of further out view, a little bit more lavender in there. It's got a little rain cloud coming down too. So some of the ideas about this, this is really based in Alfonso Ortiz's writing. Also, Rena Swensel and Tessie Naranjo and Ed Ladd's work and Joe Sando's work, they're really talking about the Pueblo world as being a living landscape. It's a living space and people's relationship to the natural world around them. That's really the essence of it. So when Alfonso Ortiz says something like time, space, and becoming, it's very existential, right? It's an existential idea. It's about your relationship with the land. It's about your relationship with the sky, the rain, the mountains. They're living things, as are you. And your relationship with these things through the space and the culture and the dance and ceremony, it's a living connection. It's about an existential moment defining yourself in relation to the landscape and the planet.
So we're getting a lot of comments about how beautiful these pieces are and thanking you thanking you for the language. There's a lot of heart emojis flying up through the page. I had a quick question for you. As you're painting these pieces and you are kind of locating these paintings in a particular space and in the Tewa language, what's going through your mind as you're creating these pieces?
I actually, I paint from a place which is very intuitive. When I'm doing landscape, for instance, there's not necessarily conscious ideas. It's really more of a kind of rhythmic painting. Sometimes I listen to music. The music is oftentimes very rhythmic as well. It's usually slower. It's maybe like a Neil Young or something, like the Dead Man soundtrack with all that kind of improvisational stuff. I listen to blues. Mississippi Delta blues. Occasionally I'll listen to songs of my people from Peter Garcia. I'll listen to some of the Okeawinge stuff from the Garcia family, turtle dance songs. So anything rhythmic, anything that's not too jarring, anything that has a kind of tempo. The kind of tempo of a painting like this, it's really about more like a kind of European Renaissance tempo. There's painted in a way with oil paints and with turpentine and medium actually, and so the rhythm of these is not very fast. Making them is not really. It's neither slow nor quick, but the kind of space that I get into when I make them is maybe something from the past. Maybe it's an evocation of the landscape. I think sometimes they're like prayers, maybe a little prayer. And when I was doing more Pueblo dancer figures earlier on, one of the things I was thinking was that they might be these little encapsulations or prayers of the dances that people could experience, that they would look at a painting and they could maybe hear the drums. They hear the Pueblo drum beats, or they'd smell like a little bit of that cedar smoke from the winter dancing, And I was hoping that was kind of like almost like a process of making a prayer as you paint, or making a painting into a prayer that would function in a similar way. These are some images from the Mayak show. These are sort of Pueblo Madonnas in a car. Kind of two world images.
Mm-hmm. Can you back up on that a little bit?
Sure. Can you see that?
Yes. And are these pieces available for sale as well?
They are. Yeah, these are in my studio.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that piece?
Sure. These are two Pueblo women, and they're actually models that they're Melissa's cousins from OK Wingate. This is Leslie Elkins, and gosh, what's the other model's name? Camilla. I want to say Bird Romero, and they're dressed in their traditional mantas, but they're also inside this old '69 Super Sport that I have. So they're kind of, I don't know, they're just these figures in the car. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but I kind of just juxtapose them, I guess. And I guess if I was going to say in a word, they're kind of two world symbols, that these very hyper-traditional Pueblo women, but at the same time, they're in this context of sort of being in a car, you know? So it's a little bit quixotic or not clearly understood. But that's also the space that modern Pueblo people inhabit, you know? That you have this connection to the land and to this time and space through ceremony and dance and song, but we're also modern people. So I guess it's really that kind of articulation of that position, which is that, I mean, it's not didactic. I don't know beyond those ambiguous ideas what it means, but that's kind of what it means, to me at least.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This is a corn dancer from the same exhibition. He's pretty magnificent. And he's really just a more traditional interpretation of a corn dance figure. He's got the male and the female together, and they're.
Can you back up on that a little bit?
I'm trying to, but there's actually a cord right now.
Oh. Oops. Someone says it reminds. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Someone is commenting that that piece is a little reminiscent of some of your early works.
Yeah, these are figurative. So these are just directly painted oil paintings, and they have some photographic reference and source, but they're not actually photographic mixed media. A lot of what I do is mixed media work, and then also I do this landscape thing where I just paint landscape. So there's a variety of ways which I use paint and color and photography. Sometimes it's source, and sometimes it's actually collaged into a piece. Mm-hmm. There's one more of these out here. It's pretty good. Let's see if I can find it. Where's the last one? Oh, here it is. Here's the last one. This one I get a kick. I think this is probably my favorite of them all. This is a Pueblo, kind of like I don't know, maybe like a Pueblo fertility figure, yeah. And she's this female dancer with the tablita and the manta, but she's also in a very contemporary space. She's actually in Tony Abeda's house with his record system and his records and everything. And then she also has this little rabbit on the side of her, which to me was sort of an homage to Julie Buffalo Head, where she uses these little animals that are kind of, you know, informing the space and have a little relationship with the figures. Mm-hmm. And for me, the rabbit is sort of this fertility symbol. So she's kind of this Pueblo earth goddess, you know, but she's also in a very contemporary situation. She's in this really modern space with the records and with the Pueblo, you know, these Navajo blankets. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a two worlds motif again, similar to the women in the car.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for showing us these pieces. Again, sure. If you guys have any questions for Mateo, feel free to ask. In the meantime, I just have a couple of announcements. We're headed right on the 6:30 hour, so I'll just make a couple of announcements and we'll see if we have any questions, okay?
Sure.
So this Thursday on August 21st at 10 a.m., we do have a Beyond Borders symposium, and Beyond Borders is a series of art installations and events created to address the global refugee crisis and ongoing US and Mexico immigration issues through the lens of the arts and social sciences. So if you'd like to join in for that, you can go on to our website and register. It's $15 for members, and if you're not quite a member yet, it's $25. And then our next Artist Live is on Monday, August 24th, this coming Monday. And Hamish sculptor and musician Adrian Wall is going to be joining us. He's our 2009 King Artist Fellow. So, Matteo, thank you so much for joining
Sure.
us in
Of
this.
course.
And again, you can pick up one of Matteo's pieces of your very own by going to MatteoRomeroStudio.com, or you can go to the SWAIA website if you can't remember that, and go online. For those of
King
you,
Galleries also. We
Oh,
have stuff with King.
and King Galleries. So you can go just Google up their website and take a look at some of Matteo's pieces. So thank you so much. If some of you dropped in a little late and want to see the full conversation, you can join us on our IGTV and watch the whole episode there, or you can join in on our YouTube channel. We should have it up later this evening. And I think that's it. So there's lots of love coming up, lots of thank yous.
Thank you for having me.
So it was such a pleasure. Thank you, Matteo.
Good to
And
see you again.
yeah, it was so good to see you. And yeah, hopefully next year we'll be able to see each other in person.
I'll be looking forward to it.
All right. Okay.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.